These are the moments that define a superstar's legacy, and Caitlin Clark just delivered one of the most dominant international debuts in recent memory, sweeping through the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament to claim MVP honors while leading Team USA to a perfect 5-0. After an injury-plagued 2025 season that saw her limited to just 13 games, Clark returned to the international stage with a vengeance. It had been 8 months since she'd played competitive basketball, 239 days to be exact. But when she stepped onto that court in San Juan, Puerto Rico, it was like she'd never left. Let me paint the picture of just how incredible this run was. Clark averaged 11.6 points and 6.4 assists, while shooting an efficient 52.9% from the field and 40% from three-point range. But those numbers only tell part of the story. This was about redemption, about proving she belonged on the biggest stage after being controversially left off the Paris Olympics roster. The tournament opener against Senegal set the tone for everything that followed. Coming off the bench in her senior national team debut, Clark exploded for 17 points and 12 assists, a double-double that announced her arrival in spectacular fashion. Those 12 assists were the second most ever recorded in a FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying game. She nailed 4 three-pointers that night, and you could see the confidence building with every shot. What made this performance even more remarkable was the context. This wasn't just Clark's first game with the senior national team. It was her return from a nightmare 2025 season. The former Rookie of the Year had dealt with a left quad strain that kept her out 3 weeks, a left groin injury that sidelined her for 2 weeks, and then a devastating right groin injury in July. The final blow came on August 7th when she suffered a severe ankle injury during an individual workout, ending her season for good.
When you've dealt with so many little soft tissue injuries, like, you can kind of get in your head a little bit. And I think at least past couple months, I've really kind of put that behind me and really just feel confident in what I've been able to build and where my body's at. And
that confidence showed immediately. Against Italy in Game 3, Clark came off the bench again and torched them for 12 points on 80% shooting in just 22.5 minutes, adding 5 assists and 5 rebounds. The efficiency was off the charts. This was vintage Clark, the player who had taken the basketball world by storm. But the real statement came in Game 4 against New Zealand when head coach Kara Lawson finally gave Clark her first ever start for the national team. Paired alongside Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Monique Billings, and Dearica Hamby, Clark responded with 14 points and 6 assists as Team USA cruised to another dominant victory. The decision to start Clark drew massive attention online, and rightfully so. Here was a player who many felt should have been in Paris, finally getting the recognition she deserved on the international stage. Her chemistry with the veterans was immediate, and you could see why Coach Lawson was so excited about what this group could accomplish.
With Caitlin, she brings this dynamic play to the offensive end. I mean, that goes without saying. And as much as she is dynamic as a scorer, she's one of the most dynamic playmakers in the world as well.
That playmaking ability was on full display throughout the tournament. Clark led not just Team USA, but the entire tournament in assists, finishing with 25 total helpers through the first 4 games. When you combine that with her 51 points through those same 4 games, both team highs, you start to understand why the MVP award was never really in question. The tournament finale against Spain provided the perfect exclamation point. While Clark had a quieter scoring night with 7 points on 2 of 7 shooting, she still managed 7 assists in just over 22 minutes of action. More importantly, Team USA secured an 84-70 victory to complete their undefeated run through the qualifiers. Let's talk about that team dominance for a moment. Team USA didn't just win, they absolutely demolished the competition. Their 5 victories came by an average margin of 42 points, with their closest game being that 14-point win over Spain. They led all teams in scoring at 95.8 points per game and were the tournament's only undefeated squad. Clark's individual brilliance was just one part of a larger story about this new-look Team USA roster. 6 players were making their senior national team debuts, including not just Clark, but also 2025 number 1 pick Paige Buchers and 2024 7th pick Angel Reese. The chemistry between these young stars was immediate and electric. The Clark-Reese connection in particular captured everyone's attention. These two had been fierce rivals in college and continued that rivalry in the WNBA, but watching them set aside their differences for the greater good of Team USA was something special. FIBA even posted on Instagram, "Caitlin and Angel on court chemistry is undisputed. What made this chemistry possible was the unique circumstances that brought this team together. 11 of the 12 players had just finished competing competing in the inaugural Unrivaled season, whether as teammates or opponents. That shared experience created an immediate bond that translated to the court in Puerto Rico. The tournament also represented a changing of the guard for USA basketball. Reigning WNBA MVP Aja Wilson and superstar Brianna Stewart were deliberately left off this roster as part of a calculated decision to rest veteran stars and give younger players international experience. The strategy paid off brilliantly. For Clark personally, this tournament was about much more than basketball statistics. This was vindication after the controversial Paris Olympics snub that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. When the Olympic roster was announced in June, Clark's absence was the story that dominated headlines for weeks. USA Basketball had cited her rookie status and the selection committee's focus on the best team rather than popularity. But even Dawn Staley later admitted, if we had to do it all over again, the way that she's playing, she would be in really high consideration of making the team. Now, 8 months later, Clark wasn't just proving she belonged, she was proving she could be the centerpiece of Team USA's future. Her tournament-leading assist numbers, combined with her efficient scoring and clutch performances in key moments, showed a player ready for the biggest stage. The MVP award ceremony was a moment of pure triumph. Clark received a Tissot Swiss watch as part of her honors, but more importantly, she was named to the All-Star 5 alongside teammate Kelsey Plum and stars from Italy, Spain, and Puerto Rico. This was her second FIBA MVP award at just 24 years old. She had previously won the honor at the 2021 U19 World Cup. Looking ahead, all signs point to Clark being on the plane to Berlin in September for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, where Team USA will chase their 12th title. What's more, she looks ready to reclaim her place as one of the premier guards in the WNBA when the 2026 season begins. The WNBA is still working through CBA negotiations, so it's unclear if the season will start on time, but if it does, fans can expect to see Clark back in action around May 8th. Her performance in Puerto Rico proved that the injuries are behind her and that she's ready to take her game to even higher levels. This wasn't just a basketball tournament, it was a statement. Caitlin Clark is back, she's healthy, and she's ready to lead Team USA into a new era of international dominance. The MVP award was just the beginning.